Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Nicole Vanderbilt. I'm the Senior Program Manager at the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. On behalf of the State of Illinois, Governor Bruce Rauner, the Director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, Erica Jeffries, we'd like to thank you for coming out today as we honor our first quarter Veterans Patriotic Volunteer Awardee, Mr. Jack Picciolo. If you're able to stand, please stand. Can you hear me? Yeah. If you're able to stand, please stand and remain standing for the presentation of colors, the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. I'd like to invite Mr. Walsh to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color guard, stand up, shoulder, arms. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Left face. Present, her.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shoulder, arms. Right face. Forward, march.
If we could just bow for a moment of silence in honor of our fallen who have not returned home. Thank you. You may be seated. We have some special guests that are here with us today to help us honor our Veteran of the Quarter. If you can stand or raise your hand to be acknowledged, please do so when your name is called. Mr. Harry F. Sawyer, the Assistant Director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. Christy McNichol, Superintendent of the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission. Mr. Larry Walsh, the Will County Executive. And Dr. Jeannie Douglas from the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm not sure if there's anybody else that's represented from elected officials. If you are, please raise your hand or stand up so you can be acknowledged.
Judy O'Gallagher, Will County Board, District 1.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, we thank you all for coming out today. We thank you, thank the representation from our local veteran service offices as well. At this time, I would like to ask our Assistant Director, I'm sorry, let me pause, I'm moving faster than I need to. At this time, I would like to invite Christy for brief remarks, and after Christy, Dr. Douglas.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So how do you describe Jack?
He's tall, he's gray.
He's humble. So Nicole just recognized the, us people that get to work with Jack. I know. Yeah. He's got tears in his eyes. So I want Kathy Charities to stand up. Midwest Shelters for Homeless Veterans. Volunteers of America, you need to come forward. Healthcare for Homeless Veterans. Come on the other side. Ladies Auxiliary, stand up, please. That's you, Sue. My board members, VFWs, my staff that are here, and volunteers, and former staff, yeah, right. And Jack's wife. And the Cemetery Association. So this is why Jack was nominated. He makes all of our lives easier. So how do you describe Jack Picciolo? Right here. Thanks.
Well, I'm really glad she started crying because I started crying when I was figuring out what I was going to speak today. So we got the tears flowing early. Congratulations, Jack. I was just so pleased when Christy asked me to come and talk today because there was nobody I'd rather come and say nice things about than Jack Picciolo. If there was ever a man who needed to be deserved to be acknowledged for his service, it's you. I imagine that there are many people here, and just showed it, that know Jack better than I do. But humor me a bit. I want to talk about a few of my reflections about Jack and the work he's done on Stand Down, where I know him best from. He's best known to me for his work with homeless veterans in the entire Chicago metropolitan area. And the uninitiated might ask, why are veterans more likely to be homeless? Why do they need all this extra care and attention? And I wanted to talk about that for just a couple of minutes. We recently all lived through the Ken Burns documentary that was a long and drawn out 10 hours worth of TV that talked about the Vietnam War. But I was most struck by one of the first episodes where a North Vietnamese soldier was talking about winning and losing. And he said, they don't speak to me of winners and losers. The only ones who talk about winning or losing a war are those who never fought. That's a very powerful statement. It's a stark statement about the reality of war, and I wish it was etched into the desks of everybody who's in our congressional powers these days. I wish it was on the screensaver of each of us as we started to vote, so that we could really remember the toll that is taken on people. The mental and physical toll is incalculable and unending. But a person who gets that, and who got that right from the beginning, was Jack. And I wanted to acknowledge that he had that empathy for those veterans, for veterans who did not come home, or veterans who did not come all the way home long before many of the rest of us did. So before the Ken Burns documentary, before it was fashionable to say thank you for your service, Jack Picciolo already had this well in mind. He recognized that war creates vulnerability that we must address, that we are honor-bound to address in the civilian life. Unlike many of the rest of us who have that thought and just go on back and take care of business, Jack said about doing something about these issues. If you've ever worked on a big project, you know there's sort of three different kinds of people that work on a big project. There's people who stand around and order people around and suggest jobs for other people. There's people who sit down and tell you how hard they've been working. And then there's people who get to work and get the work going. And Jack is obviously of the third category, and a trait that I'm sure many of you have already seen over and over and over again. But I know him best from Stand Down. When he first started coming to Stand Down, I didn't really know his name. Probably for several years. I didn't know your name, but I always knew he was in the kitchen. He was serving food. He was cleaning up messes. He was unpacking trucks. He was cooking food, serving food, making coffee. And then, if there was ever a pause, he'd come up next to me and say, "You need help with anything?" And he was never ending in his way to try to be part of the mission of Stand Down. He was providing services endlessly to homeless veterans and didn't mind getting his hands dirty and his feet tired to do it. So he's a winner at Stand Down, that's for sure. But I know he also took on the same role in the sandwich run that Vietnam sponsored every Sunday evening for 25 years. And if you don't know this group, they took over 400 meals into the heart of Chicago every Sunday evening because they learned that this was the evening most food programs were closed. So in addition to feeding homeless men, women, and children, they were responsible for helping countless homeless individuals, many of them veterans, off the streets into the housing. And I talked to Paul Bazazian, who was sorry he couldn't be here today. I asked him, when did Jack start doing the run? Because I wanted to say how many years. And he said, oh, I don't know. I don't know how many years. He said, but when he came the first time, he never stopped coming. He was steady. He said he came every Sunday, rain or shine. And participating in this program is incredible commitment. Think about it, every Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, showing up to make sandwiches, pack a truck, take it downtown, deal with angry, hungry people, come back, unload the truck, deal with angry, hungry volunteers, and continue over and over and over again. On a Sunday, when most of us would like to kick back, most of us would like to watch a football game, take a nap, or go shopping. But instead, he was on the sandwich run and a huge part of what made it succeed. That quiet, steady sense of mission and that willingness to put his shoulder to the wheel made it all the difference for that program as well. So over the years, I've had many conversations with Jack about homeless veterans and the ways to best serve them in the counties outside of Cook. He recognized early on that veteran homelessness is not just an inner city problem, but one that is present in every county in our state. And when I heard that Jack was the VAC chairman in Will County, I knew you guys were all in good hands. I was thrilled he was receiving this award today. Congratulations. Save of the day. But the work's not over. So you don't get to retire.
Thank you, Christy and Dr. Douglas, for those kind remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Assistant Director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, Harry Sawyer, to the podium.
Thank you and good afternoon. I can't do what Jean does. She's really into it, and you know, when this is probably the best job that an assistant director has, representing the governor's office and coming out and doing these awards, because we're picking out individuals, or individuals are chosen by what they do, by what they volunteer, by giving their time, their money, their life to not only the homeless, but to veterans, to churches, and to Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and all those charities and organizations that need help. And you don't find a lot of guys or men or women that will do that. So now it's time to honor our first quarter veteran and patriotic volunteer. The Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs and the Veterans Patriotic Volunteer and Appreciation Award honors the work of veterans whose contributions in service to the veteran community and to the local community are truly above and beyond the call of duty as a volunteer at local, state, and national levels, and in support of fellow veterans and their communities. Honorees are those whose efforts add to the powerful narrative that veterans are dedicated, long-life public servants from whose efforts all of Illinois communities stand to benefit. In contributing to this narrative through their service to veterans and local communities, the veterans of the quarter impact not only the lives of those they serve, but also overall advocacy efforts for Illinois veterans. Nominations are evaluated on their achievements and the extent to which their efforts have benefited and inspired other veterans. In addition, nominees must have received an honorable discharge from the U.S. military and reside in the state of Illinois. This award has a very special meaning. It provides our department, as well as the governor of Illinois, with the opportunity to showcase the value of community service that exemplified by our veterans. Our veterans understand the value of service and sacrifice for the greater good they live it. Through their past experiences, they've embodied this virtue to the greatest extent. For us at the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, that sends an extremely powerful message, enduring message, regarding the value of service. Whether it be service to one's country, one's family, or friends and neighbors, or the community in which they live, the example set by our veterans illustrates how far individuals are willing to go in order to help their fellow citizens, both on and off the battlefield. Today we're here to honor Jack Picciolo for his contributions to the veterans and his community. Jack is a Vietnam veteran. Welcome home. Jack's a Vietnam veteran who served in the United States Army from 1964 through 1965. We'll hear more about Jack when the proclamation is read. But I'd like to ask Mr. Walsh, will you join me? And I'd like to ask Mrs. Picciolo, will you join me? And Jack, come on up. Go ahead and stand on this side right here. So I'm going to read the governor's proclamation now. Whereas the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs recognizes Jack Picciolo as the Illinois Veteran Patriotic Volunteer and Appreciation Awardee for the first quarter of the fiscal year 2018. Whereas Jack has honorably served our country in the United States Army from April 1964 through April 1965 during the Vietnam War, earning the Vietnam Service Medal, Good Conduct Medal, Sharpshooter Badge, and whereas Jack continues to uphold the Army Corps values of loyalty, duty, respect, selflessness, service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And whereas Jack was instrumental in helping Will County bring an end to veterans' homelessness and work diligently with the homeless veterans population in the area. Whereas Jack is passionate about honoring veterans at the end of their lives and is instrumental in many final salutes. He works tirelessly to increase awareness of military funeral and honors for veterans. And whereas the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs is proud to celebrate the continued commitment of Illinois heroes, it's proud to honor John Joseph Jack Picciolo. Whereas the state of Illinois publicly honors Jack on this day. Therefore, I, Bruce Rauner, Governor of the State of Illinois, do hereby recognize John Joseph Jack Picciolo for his support and service to the Illinois veteran community. So, I'd like to present you with the Governor's proclamation. Mrs. Picciolo, why don't you we'll get together and right. Ladies and gentlemen, our honored guest, Jack Picciolo.
There'll be a few words, but usually I don't talk much. I really appreciate this honor, and the one that I'd really like to thank is my wife for putting up with me for the last 7 or 8 years when I got extra active in Veterans Affairs. I don't like to dwell on the past, what we accomplished, but right now we still have a huge job to do with the VA, with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, with Will County, and every other individual organization that is working towards our goal of totally erasing veteran homelessness in Will County. Not functionally, but totally wiping it out. I really appreciate all of you showing up today. Thank you very much.
Also, on behalf of the state of Illinois, I'd like to present you with a state of Illinois flag to fly at your home. Figure out watch. Thank you very much. We'd like to thank Jack again for everything he does because, you know, without guys like him and with a good woman behind him, we wouldn't be anywhere. And I know we all are service members. I belong to 3 different organizations, and I know many of you belong to veterans organizations as well as other clubs. But without you, things would never get done. And we just certainly appreciate that. And we certainly want to thank Mr. Walsh and the Will County Board and the Will County Veterans Assistance Commission for allowing us to use their facility as well as helping us to honor Jack Picciolo. We also want to thank the honor guard coming from Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, Kristen McNichol. Why are you hiding back there? She's still tearing back there. But she's, you know, again, you can do this very same thing, honoring the veterans. And just like Jack, we have on our website, go to the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs website. You can honor veterans like Jack who do things, who have a commitment to the community. You can help us honor business partners if you have any businesses in town or whatever, around Joliet or anywhere that donate to the veterans organizations and continue their commitment to veterans. We can honor them as well. Go to our website, there's applications right on there. Just tell us a little bit about what they do. And what is brand new that was kicked off December 3rd of 2017, just a week ago, is Honor 200. It is bicentennial of the state of Illinois, 200th anniversary. And what we're going to do is honor 200 veterans on December 3rd, 2018 at the United Center in downtown Chicago. This is going to be a major celebration. It isn't just for veterans, it's going to be a major celebration for the state of Illinois. However, we're going to honor 200 veterans. So if you know, and Jack, you're eligible, somebody can put Jack's name in, and there's an application right on our website, Honor 200. Go in and put 10 people in there, I don't care. We're going to, we need 200 veterans that we want to honor at this celebration. So if you go to our website, please do. And I'll turn it back over to Nicole for a closing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program for this afternoon. We appreciate you truly taking the time out of your day today as we honor the accomplishments, the sacrifice and the commitment of our first quarter awardee, Jack Picciolo. That concludes our program for today. We thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.